Good afternoon. We're just giving people a few minutes to join us.
Hello.
If you're comfortable, let us know who's here. Let us know who's with us, where you're watching from. We'd love to know that. We enjoy engaging with this community, this virtual community that gathers together on a weekly basis to strengthen one another, to uphold one another, to get some meat that will carry us through the coming week. We are glad that you are a part of it. Let us know as we're just giving a few minutes. We'd love to know who's watching with us if you're comfortable. Hope you all are having a phenomenal Sunday. I know that this is Super Bowl Sunday. Um, what's going on, Lysandra? You here. On time
Hey,
early.
Lysandra.
Good job. Glad to see you today. Like I was saying, I know it's Super Bowl Sunday. I know people are planning all sorts of festivities, but we are glad that you have come by to prioritize uh, getting what you need to help you through this week. We are looking forward to sharing some truth with you today. I know I've been running around gathering things, getting things together for Super Bowl Sunday, and I was laughing as I was preparing because I know that in my house, I'm probably the one that's going to watch the actual game. So I thought I would start with a little quiz that Camille didn't know that I was going to do just to show how I work really hard for my whole family that's very excited about the Super Bowl.
To show how you
I'm
work.
just wondering um, who's playing in tonight's game?
Um,
Wait
that's
for
a really good question.
it.
I mean, I remember
Mm-hmm.
the Buffalo Bills. I think were trying to.
No.
I mean, they were close.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get my
Yeah.
memory to see if
Yeah.
I can see
See if you can trigger it. All right.
who. Is it the 49ers?
No. That's the team though. That's good. That is a team.
I don't know. Wait, wait. So wasn't it the Buffalo Bills played?
Mm. This is when Damar Hamlin. This
I
is
no, but they played that team again. Isn't it that team that won that's in the Super Bowl?
no.
That other team.
It's not either
Oh,
of those teams.
I don't know. But I mean, I don't watch football.
I know. I know. I wanted to see. That's where I wanted to see you get to. But they're very excited about the Super Bowl tonight. I
We're
probably
going to have a fun time.
yes. They're very excited. I'm gonna get the food together and set it. I'm gonna lay it out, lay the whole spread, and they're gonna listen to the national anthem and watch a few commercials, and then come back and see. I don't think this is going how wanted it to go. I think she might internally be not liking this conversation. And then
I'm just trying to see where is it that you working
halftime.
hard.
I'm just, I rode all around this whole region gathering the food to lay out the spread. I'm going to go today and
I
pick
remember
up.
ordering some items too that you didn't pick up.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I remember those. I saw those. But there's great anticipation. It's Super Bowl Sunday. And so are you all as excited about the Super Bowl? I'm going to ask you the same question. If you just know really good, then you don't even have to respond. Who's playing in the Super Bowl that you all are really excited about? You said, I want to be right. Or do I want to be right or do I
Right,
want to be happy? That is a great marriage question right there. I just want to know if anybody, I'm really curious if y'all watch the game and if you like know who's playing in it and stuff in our community.
I've seen glimpses
Yeah,
of the
I'm
games.
just checking. I'll wait for it for a second and then we'll get right into the word because it's Super Bowl Sunday and that's a big deal, right? Lysandra, you so right. Okay, maybe I shouldn't. I'll just let it go.
No, you already did it. You already like tried to prove whatever you're trying to prove.
Yeah, I guess I already did it.
And how you do it and then say, "Well, I'll let it go.
I don't want to be hard nosed
I'll
about this.
just
It's okay that you guys
be
don't
the bigger
really
person."
watch the games. Specifically, people of another no, not socio, like
Well,
demographic.
that's why the Super Bowl
It
sets the
appeals to
Super Bowl
everyone,
up
right?
the way that they do. There are other things to watch the Super Bowl for.
Thank
I
you.
want to see the commercials,
I do too.
you know?
I do too.
I want to eat some fun food that we don't typically eat, you know?
That's cool.
Some party food.
I love it because the
I
fact
want
that
to see how the halftime show goes.
me too. Who's doing the halftime show this year?
I know Rihanna. I feel like there was somebody else.
See how these answers flow. See how these parts of the answers flow. Yep. But who's playing again?
Two teams.
Yeah. Okay. It is the Philadelphia Eagles because y'all not responding either. Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs. All right.
Oh yeah, I do
Yes.
slightly remember the
Mahomes.
Chiefs.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. And so Jalen Hurts is the quarterback
Oh,
for
isn't
the
it two
Philadelphia
brothers?
Eagles.
Two brothers are playing against each
Oh,
other.
that's another thing. Yeah, that's the Kelseys.
Oh,
Yeah. See, yeah, you
I
pick
know
up
some
on some
things.
things. So this is the first Super Bowl with two black starting quarterbacks
I did
playing against one
read
another,
that
which
somewhere.
is pretty cool. Um, so yeah, Hurts against Mahomes this year, and so I would ask who y'all going for, but since you didn't know who was playing, um, you're watching me earn the side eye. Then I figure maybe I shouldn't ask who you're going for. Well, Caden picks who she's going for
Based on
based
colors, right?
on the colors of the uniforms or what the mascot is. Like I don't, I like Eagles. I don't like Chiefs. Chiefs sounds like war, and Eagles sound like beautiful, graceful birds. So I'm gonna go for the Eagles. That's how she picks. So I guess I still can ask, who do you all want to win now that you know who's playing in the game?
It doesn't matter to me, but I guess I would be happy for Mahomes because um, I hear his name quite a bit,
That's
and it
hey,
seems
that's
like
fair.
it would be a really good win for him.
That's fair. That's fair. I I would like for the Chiefs to win. I don't know who will. My favorite team is not even in contention, and has not been for quite a while, and makes decisions so that they might not be for a while. Again, that's the Cowboys. But I've always been a diehard Cowboys fan. But in this game, I'm rooting for the Chiefs, even though I don't know if they're gonna win. So that's good. I just thought I would start because it's Super Bowl Sunday with some questions, and you did a good job on the halftime question. Do you know who's singing the national anthem?
No,
I don't know that. I don't know that. Okay, just curious.
I'm busy getting party food.
You were okay.
Yeah,
All right, great, good. You mean the kind that they delivered to the
yeah.
house,
I ordered it though.
and that I went out and got and brought in and stuff?
Yeah, but I
That,
ordered it.
okay,
It
cool,
wouldn't be here for you to eat if I didn't order it.
cool. Well, Lysandra enjoys the snacks. That's about it, and watching others enjoy themselves. Well, that's
Yeah,
nice.
Lysandra,
That's so wonderful. That's
it's
great.
fun.
So this was really important, valuable time to contribute because it's Super Bowl Sunday. I have one other thing before I dive into what we're going to jump into today. Um, I'm a little late again today because I once again had to shave. I'm beginning to realize that I tend not to shave on Fridays, and then I don't tend to on Saturdays. And then it comes to Sunday, and I'm like, oh, I look horrible,
No
and I
more
got to get on
time.
camera. And so I realized that late every time, every time.
That's why I wrap my hair.
Oh, that's preparation, isn't it?
Hmm.
That's a good idea.
So
I
it's
should
a
wrap
lot easier
my
to
face.
deal with your
Um,
head.
so part of the thing right now, and this actually does begin to lead into some spiritual stuff that I've been thinking about. I know we don't always we go first natural, then spiritual, right? That's what the Bible says to do. At least I think that's really in there. My dad said it a lot. I have to look for that one. He said first natural, then spiritual. And so baseball cap, that works for heads, but not for faces. For faces. So I could wear
Um,
like a N95, and that might keep you from seeing if I'm shaving or not. But
mhm.
the cap won't work for my needs. But thank you for the suggestion. One thing,
Yes, First Corinthians 15:46.
it's really in there. Thanks, Dad, for rightly dividing the word of truth. Um, and so I'm trying to grow my goatee. And so you can see I look a little scruffy.
Oh, we're back to that.
Yeah. And so as she said that, I always decide I'm going to see if I can grow it in because I've never, ever grown it in. And it's almost there, you see?
Yes, that's always the
It's
case.
beginning, it's
It's
almost there.
always on.
It's almost there. It's almost connecting. And so the thing that I noticed that might actually have some, it might actually have some truth for you in it that will be useful for you this week.
Okay, this is the spiritual part coming up.
Yes, we're there.
Okay.
We're there. We're there already. And so I've never completed the process because when I start getting to this part of the process, I look a mess.
Hmm.
And so I tend to be unwilling to keep on going through the process to get to the completion of the end goal because I don't like the image or the way that I look in the process. And so I just tend to just shave it off. One morning I'll get up to shave and I'll just be like, forget it, never
Hmm.
mind, and it's gone. And the spiritual truth to that is that many times we don't reach our end goals. We don't reach our purpose, our divine plan that God has for our lives because we are unwilling to endure through the parts that make you look crazy.
The
The
wilderness.
the wilderness. I look like the wilderness. The parts that make you uncomfortable. The parts where you can see the promised land. We touched on this a little bit last week. When you're standing on the edge and you can see, like, I'm almost there, there's just a little bit further that I have to go. We often turn back right when we are on the border, on the doorway, at the entryway of the border of the promise. And so I want to encourage somebody to be okay not having the image, not looking like you want to look in order to get to where you're trying to go. And so someone's like, well, if I take that job, it on my resume it will look like I'm going backwards. Or if I if I abandon this thing that I put so much work into, like I'll look like a failure. And we become more encapsulated by the
The
image of a
look.
thing than by the reality of a thing. And therein, oftentimes miss out on what is right in our pursuit of, oh God, in our pursuit of looking apart or looking right,
Hmm.
we forego the reality that it takes to get to right. And so I want to encourage somebody to endure through that process, that situation, that amount of time where it doesn't look how you envisioned it. Oh God, that business doesn't seem to be working and you're ready to just throw it away. That relationship seems like there's no hope in it. There might not be, but if it's the one God brought you to, then don't pull the plug on the thing too early. Endure the part that doesn't look right
Hmm.
so that you can get to the part that is right. Your reality requires you to persevere. Oh, God. To persevere through the difficulty, through the image not looking right, through looking sometimes like sometimes you look crazy. You look like you don't have good sense. Like, why would she stay in that? Why would he take that position? Why would he go backwards when it seems like, and that's spectators, oh God, spectators always think they know what you should do, but they don't necessarily know the full story and understand what God may be posturing you and positioning you for. So endure it, even if it doesn't look how you want it to look. Let them talk. Let the outsiders, the spectators, sometimes even people who do genuinely care, let them talk. Now, I'm not saying ignore, but when you have a God said, you have to listen louder. You have to listen more intently to the voice of God than to the voice of spectators.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So that's one that I had for you today.
That's good.
That's good.
Yep.
Please define. I see a question I want to address. Where'd it go?
Go up a little bit.
I saw it went away. I saw it said, Lysandra, there was something where you said, please define endure, but there was more to it. I saw it and then it went away. Um, and maybe I didn't need, maybe we didn't need to see the full question. I don't know. I saw the part that said, please define endure. Oh, there we go. Because we don't want to encourage abusive relationships. Yeah, we don't want to encourage abusive relationships. And so, as it relates, again, the key part that I feel like I said there is when you have a God said.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a God said, when you know that you are in or a part of what God told you to be a part of, when you know that God says, stay in it, stay in it. That's the extent of what I'm referencing. Now, when we get in stuff that wasn't a God said, or when things shift and it becomes abusive or it becomes abusive, abnormal use is what abuse means. It's abnormal use. When it is when God is not in it,
Mm-hmm.
then we talked last week about running. Then you get out. But there's a whole lot to figure out in that process. Because sometimes we just want to quickly jump to, well, maybe God's not in anymore. I'm running, and people exit prematurely, and that's kind of what I'm talking about today. We don't need to exit prematurely. If God tell you stay, stay. Uh-huh. If God tells you go, go. This is how we simplify it. The challenging part is knowing what he's saying compared to what you're feeling and what you're wanting. Managing um, the discernment of, is this what God is saying, whether that be stay or go, or is this what I'm saying, stay or go? And so there's a whole process there that isn't what we're dealing with today, but that is important to navigate. Thank you so much for that question.
Mm-hmm.
You asking it helps other people who may be watching this or who may watch this later. Um, Good. So yeah, the discernment, and we talk about that stuff a lot. Um, but sometimes it becomes more difficult for us to apply even the knowledge that we have when we begin to have our feelings entangled, feelings of want,
Mm-hmm.
feelings of loneliness. When we begin to have these factors of emotions tied in, our soul becomes very loud, mind, will, and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Our soul becomes very loud. Sometimes our flesh becomes very loud because our flesh has certain needs and certain proclivities, certain desires, right? Um, but that still small voice of the spirit speaking to our spirit is what we get hold of, and we've been spending a lot of time on that. So
Yeah.
go back to the last few messages and apply that lens on it, and you
Mm-hmm.
should get some truths out of it that will be useful. But yeah, absolutely. We want to be in something that God says yes to, that God says yes to, more than we want to be in something that we say yes to.
Right.
Those can be two different things.
And when there's confusion about, is this something I want or God wants, or if you know you're the type of person that typically will see something you want, and then you say, well, God told me to do this.
Mm-hmm.
um, be honest with yourself. Am I that type of person that when I see something that I want, do I then put God's stamp of approval on it? Do I say that He's the author of that desire?
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to, those uh, those desires that come out of our flesh and our soul. We talked about it last week. We have to do the work continuously to build up our spirit so that we can have more clarity when God is speaking, nudging, you know, giving revelation about something. We have to do the work to feed our spirit more than we do the work to feed our flesh and our souls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then you can hear better.
Yep. Another thought, and I didn't mean to stay on this, but your question has driven it, and you the one engaging us on the live. So I encourage everybody who's not on the live, if you want your questions and stuff to help guide some of our conversations, join us on the live as well. But since you're there, I'm gonna stay there for a second. Um, I like the first part of your comment that jumps out to me. You said, I want.
Mm-hmm.
When we begin to think of those, and there's nothing wrong with wanting that. Let me
Right.
first say that. That
It's a natural
desire,
desire of humans.
yeah. The Bible says no human, it says no man, but it's referencing humankind, is an island. Like, we all have desire. I shouldn't say all. Um, Most of us, if it has not been broken in us, has desire for a relationship. It's like part of what's his name, the hierarchy of needs guy. Uh, I can't think of it.
I feel like, I don't know if I'm right. Is
Maslow.
it Pavlov?
No, that's the dogs.
Oh,
That's ring the bell
I
and
know it's
salivate.
somebody
Uh,
with some kind of name like
the
that.
hierarchy of needs, like one of them is for human connection in some way, um, and so it's perfectly a wholesome, good desire.
Oh, Maslow.
Maslow. I knew it was Mas something. Um, and so, yeah, what are they? What are they?
Oh,
Oh,
I
you went
just
out
got
real
rid of
fast.
it.
The hierarchy of needs. There's certain things. I think this is a valuable tool. There's certain things that almost all humans desire.
I don't know if this is.
Psychological needs, needs for safety. I like the
Oh, the other one.
belonging and love as we go up that triangle. So like that's one of those hierarchy of needs: esteem, cognitive, aesthetic, self actualization, and then transcendence at the top. Those the high we have human needs, and so first of all, I want to affirm that in you. Second, I want you to have a tool in your toolkit where when you are stating, when you begin sentences with "I want," it automatically triggers a processing for you of, okay, what part of me is wanting this? Is it my spirit? Is
Mm-hmm.
it my soul? Is it my body?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm just to have an awareness. The second thing that I want to encourage all of y'all to do is what's called root cause analysis. Sometimes we begin to state what we want because we think what we want will solve a certain problem. All right. So where does it stem from? I'm lonely. Maybe. I don't know. It's different for different people. I need a partner. I need financial support. There's hundreds of things. I want to have children. There's all sorts of things that could trigger it. So you have to go backwards in root cause analysis and ask yourself what we call the five whys. And five might not be the magic number, but it's a number of grace. So we'll just stick with that as a starting point. So I want this. I want a mate. So then ask yourself, why do I want a mate? Okay? Then you get an answer, and then you're starting to get more to a root. Um, I want to mate, and I'm just going to make something up. I want to mate because I'm lonely. All right. So then you ask yourself, you get to turn into the little brother. I'm good at this, and keep on asking yourself those analytical questions. Why? Why? And so, why are you lonely? All right. Now we're starting to get a little bit deeper in this process. Well, I'm lonely because I feel like I need someone to, and I'm making this up, right? To affirm me or whatever it might be. Okay. Then don't stop there. Why? And this is just an example. You do it with your own answers and your own process. Why do I feel like I need someone to affirm me? Well, because, and I'm making up the answers too, because I'm not always confident or secure in the fact that I'm making good decisions, and it's nice to have somebody there who can kind of I can bounce stuff off of, and we're on a team together. I know they have my best interest at heart. Blah blah blah. So you're not feeling confident in your decisions. Why? You see how we're at the fourth why at this point. Why are you not feeling confident? Well, because people in my life have always questioned if I can make good decisions, and this caused me to begin to wonder if I can make those decisions myself. Okay, so now we're at a fifth why. Why, and I'm making all this up, so it may not be a perfect example. Why do I feel like I have to? Wait, where did I leave it? Why?
Um,
Why do people feel like I don't make good decisions or something like that, or they're messing with my confidence? Because because I've made a few decisions in my past that really threw me off track at some points in my life. And so from there, then you start to do you if you believe that you're starting now to get toward a root, then you can begin to apply a lens of so would what I'm asking for solve
mhm.
the actual need or problem that I have? Would having a person there fix the decisions I made years ago? Would having a person there really give me the affirmation? You can go back up those five. Is that the solution, or is there some other work that I need to do on myself
Mhm.
to get over some things from my past, or is there some confidence that I need that I can't get from another person? Am I looking for the solution in the right source? Oh my goodness. Am I trying to bring a person in to solve all my needs, but they may not be equipped to, and then I'll be angry with them because they aren't it either, because that's what happens in many cases. I'm not saying that's what would happen with you, but in many cases after we get married, then we like,
That
well,
didn't do it.
you didn't fix my stuff. And not to mention, we don't examine this other person has their own set of needs and root causes and problems and issues and
Mhm.
experiences that they bring to the table, and they need you to do something for them as well. Like, what do I bring to the table for that person as well? And so sometimes we think that certain things are the fixes we need
Mhm.
when it could be. I'm not saying that this is the case in this situation. I'm just thinking with you. It could be that there's some other things that we need to work on within ourselves before we will be equipped and prepared to be a good partner for someone else with all their stuff they coming through too. And we don't want to put un what's my word? Realistic, unrealistic, irrealistic, unrealistic, I don't know.
Unrealistic.
Unrealistic expectations on another person to fix something that we need to do the work on getting fixed ourselves, or we need to take to the Lord, or whatever the right strategic solution is. So weighing all that, at the end of the day, I'm not saying that means that you shouldn't want
Mhm.
what you stated you want. That is perfectly, it makes perfect sense. What I'm saying is make sure you're doing the work on you that you can do to ready you for it in the process.
Mhm. Well, that's actually where I wanted to pick up from to say, another side to that is that okay, so we have a desire, wanting a mate, right? Then you have to think about what do you bring to the table? it could be a lot of good things. It could be a lot of mess too. We're not perfect people. And so anytime there's something that becomes a, goal of yours, we should always look to see how can I prepare myself for this so that I will have the capacity for this, so that I will be healthy emotionally for this, so that I can be, the things that I need to be for that other person. I think a lot of times people forget to think about the other person that would be a part of this relationship, because I think when I'm gonna just use the word that's coming to me, maybe because God wants it to be that strong, because we fantasize about what relationship and marriage would be. It's all like this one-sided thought process. So, for anything that we want, there's always work that we have to do to prepare ourselves for it. So if it may require, maybe you don't know yourself very well, or maybe there's like all these walls and barriers that you may run into in life, and you never really truly have a handle on this same thing that pops up over and over again in your life. Well, that's going to be something that will be that will affect your relationship too, because once again we got to think about the other person that has to be a part of this relationship, right? How will that affect them? How will they take that? How will they support you in that? Or, and there's other things that they're going to bring too. Will you support that, what they have going on? So if it requires counseling, if it requires doing the work of finding out what things you have to unravel so that you can have a new mindset about things, so that you can be a caring person with the person you're going to be in a relationship with, so that you don't do things like dismiss uh, needs and things like that. So doing the work so that you can be a vessel to hold what it is that you ultimately want. I mean, even if it's a car, well, what do you do to make sure that you're going to be a good steward of a car? What do you do now? Like, do you possess those qualities to be a car owner? Because having a car is just more than driving to where you want to be, right? You have to be able to have the finances to take care of the vehicle.
Sustain the maintenance.
Sustain it, right. You got to make sure you get oil changes. You have to wash the car. You don't want to God to bless you with the car and then you never keep it clean. Like, those are just factors that come into play about, do you have capacity for this thing that you want? Or is there something that you need to work on? Just more examples of, if you want a car, what can you do ahead of time before you get a car to prepare to be a car owner? There's going to be insurance that's needed. So that's a financial responsibility, right? Get the quotes, go find out what it takes to have the insurance that you need for the car. And does the insurance cover all the things that you would think that you would need for that vehicle? I'm trying to think of other stuff for a vehicle.
Figure out where you're going to park it.
Yeah. Is there a place to park it? I remember I think I was 16. I really wanted a car. And so I was having like my own declarations, like, okay, I'm gonna get a car one day. And so I'm gonna go find me a nice keychain, and I'm going to keep, my keys together. And one day I'm going to be able to put my car key on this. So just things like that to just prepare myself to be a car owner and to start thinking like a car owner. I was young. So that was the thing I could think of. I'm getting myself the best keychain I can find, the cutest keychain I can find.
But that is so faith.
Yeah.
Like, even at your young age, at that point in time, and not at a point of just this deep spiritual maturity, Like, this is why your mindset is amazing. I wouldn't have thought of that. Like, go get a keychain. I want a car. I'm gonna go get a keychain so that when the key comes to me, I have somewhere
I
to
have a
put it.
place for it.
And that so crosses over into the question that you asked so well. Like, um, I'm going to do things. Listen, I hear people say all the time, you can't become a spouse. Like, I couldn't become a husband just after saying vows. Like, you have to be that
Mm-hmm.
to be in a position to become that.
Possess those qualities.
Yeah. So, um, and here's the other thing that I thought about as you were talking. That was all super good. Um, when we enter into marriage, and I'm not trying to act like I'm an
We're gonna have to
expert on
do
marriage. We're gonna do some talk stuff.
some marriage stuff
Yep.
and relationship stuff.
Yep. When you enter into marriage, you enter in. Let's see, what are we on? This our 19th
19.
year. It'll be
Yeah.
19 in June.
Yeah.
19. So I feel like we can finally
Our
talk
marriage is
about it a
a
little
young
bit.
adult.
Yeah, we couldn't talk about it until it could vote. And so when we hit 18, that thing could vote. So now we have a vote, and your vote is your voice. So now we can speak on the thing a little bit, right? A little bit. Still not experts necessarily. Still have bad days. Um, I don't know how Camille could have any bad days, but I still have. I'm joking. That's a complete joke. Complete joke. I don't know how she does it with me.
I'm a handful. I know.
No.
But even within marriage, we still have to work on ourselves.
Yeah. So what I was going to get to, when you enter into marriage, you enter in with preconceived notions of what marriage is. When I get married, it's going to be this, it's going to be that,
It's the
it's going to be the other.
fantasizing.
Yes. You enter in and you're like, I'm going to be this kind of a spouse. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And I'm not going to do this, that, and that other. And so we enter in with all of these preconceived notions about what it will be. And all of our preconceived notions in our minds tend to work for us. And then we get in the thing. And things don't typically go according to our preconceived notions. And so the people who last and endure in marriage are the ones who adjust with it.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who say, I thought it was going to be this. I found out it was that. And I have to figure out a way to make this thing work. Um, Camille says to people all the time, you have to be willing to fight for your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about marriage relationships now, which is a little bit different than dating relationships. And so we could tell you everything that works for us, but then you could get in yours, and those things that work for us won't necessarily work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is a processing, a bobbing, a weaving, an evolving
Mm-hmm.
of figuring out how do we make the best out of our potential
Mm-hmm.
in a relationship. Nobody will ever exactly be Camille and Rajel. Um, and there are parts of that you should say thank you, Jesus, for.
Right.
And there's parts of it that could be like, oh, but I kind of wanted that because we have preconceived notions
Mm-hmm.
of certain things. Um, so you have to go in with an openness that things might not be exactly what I expect. I'm not saying that that means that you take abuse. That's a different
Mm-hmm.
conversation. But those fantasies that Camille keeps referencing, it might be different. Like,
Yeah.
you all might need to establish different roles than the roles that you might have had in mind going in. Um, and after you get it figured out, it will all change because you both are still evolving, and you might come to a different season of life where you need different things now than you needed in the beginning. And
Right.
so in the beginning there wasn't a need for me to do a lot of cooking per se, just as an example, right? But we ran into some life, and that's what you will run
Mm-hmm.
into, where it was like, oh no, you need to handle that more, most, right? And so you have to be willing. What happens is that we come to those moments and we get real frustrated, and we're like, this isn't what I signed up. You don't know what you're signing up for.
No clue.
Like, when you take those vows, you are a deer in headlights, and you're looking at them and they look pretty at the altar, and they look like
Forever
everything you've
sounds
ever
amazing.
dreamed. And like, you start saying stuff like, I'm going to be with you in sickness and in health. But when you say it, they're healthy.
Mm-hmm.
uh, when you don't know what that looks like until you get to it,
Mm-hmm.
and you say, I'm going to forsake all others. But at that point in time, you don't have any others that you're really forsaken, because you're just fascinated and so in love and in what, engulfed in the, that's not the word I was looking for,
Mm-hmm.
but engulfed in the other person. So it's like, no, I don't want anybody else. But then you get in the marriage and they make you mad, and then you're like, man, it wouldn't have been this. Like, all of this stuff happens to other people, never to me. Because I'm just playing. But all of this happens, and you have to recognize that it's not always. It's not. Oh God, I don't want to crush anybody's heart. Marriage is not always the solution. Sometimes it's the problem. It brings you additional challenges. I'll say that, right? I think Camille would be the first to agree to that.
Yes.
I bring her additional challenges, and I keep it very exciting by bringing her additional challenges, because I have certain ways of living that don't always align perfectly with her way of living. She has ways of living that don't always perfectly align with my ways of living. And so in marriage, you say, all right, I'm going to adjust to your ridiculousness. And the hope is, this isn't a guarantee, but the hope is that they too are saying, all right, I'm going to adjust to your ridiculousness. But what happens is our human nature begins to say, I adjusted more than you adjusted, and that's not fair. So I'm going to stop
Mm-hmm.
adjusting. And now I've stopped adjusting. That in turn makes the other person stop adjusting. And then you have friction, and you're at odds. And you look at that person. This is what other people tell me. You look at that person, sweet, I'm just teaching
You
a
heard. You
principle.
just heard about this.
Yes.
Read it in books.
Yes, I'm just teaching a principle that might help somebody else.
Okay.
You look at them and you gag internally.
True.
True. You
You literally do not like the other person.
yes.
Yeah.
Yet
And what do you do with that?
they're your person to have
And
and
to
to
hold.
hold from this day forward, for better or for worse. And that day, when you're holding their hand, looking into their eyes, you are in better. And you can't really even like uh uh
Fathom.
reasonably with a great awareness predict what worse will look like at that moment,
Not till you get there.
till you get there. Till you get there. And then you're like, wait, this what I didn't, we say this, I didn't sign up for this. Yes, you did. To all my married people.
Wholeheartedly.
You You wanted it more than if anybody would have told you couldn't have it that day, you would have karate chopped them. Like you fought for it. You went against the convictions of other people who tried to tell you, I don't know if this is gonna work out. You got mad at them. You unfriended them. You stopped listening to them. You didn't want to deal with them no more. You said they not for me. And now when you get in worse, you like, you know what? They told me. My mama always told me he wasn't gonna be no good. And so work the works work on you first.
That's why you have to do that work ahead of time because you're going to need to pull
Need
on that work,
need every bit of it.
that exercise. You got to keep lifting those weights
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
have strength.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this wasn't where we were planning on going, but I think it must be needed.
Hmm.
I think it must be needed. Um, and so the preconceived notions, you have to know that you made that up,
Yeah.
and we all have them. And some of them are like stereotypes. Some of them are these gender roles that other people have taught us. Some of them are just like what we what we think a spouse should be. Like
Hmm.
I said the other week, I think it was just us talking. I can't remember. I can't remember if y'all are in on stuff or if we're just at our dining room table talking. Um, I don't know how there was ever a point in my life that I thought I would know what a wife is. I've never been a wife. That's what we have to remember. For all you women, you've never been a husband.
Hmm.
Husband. That's where it was.
Oh, yeah.
Husband. Uh, and so we think that we can tell our spouse how to be something that we have never been.
Hmm.
We'll talk another week about the husband thing because if I get on that,
That's a whole other.
it's gonna
Yeah.
take far too long. Um, but I definitely we'll talk about it here soon. Soon. No white picket fence. No two-door garage. Hey, but when you work it, I don't want to sound all doom and gloom, dark, negative, pessimistic concerning marriage because I honestly it's the best thing in the world for me now and today. Now tomorrow we can be at odds and you feel like the thing that's the best for you was the worst for you. It changes. It adapts.
It's what the two of you make it.
It is.
If you invest in it,
Mm-hmm.
then you will see fruit from it.
Yeah. And that's where I was going. If you work it,
Hmm.
it works.
It's not for lazy people. It's not
Mm-mm.
for people who want to just sit back
Mm.
and watch the other person do all the work.
It's not for selfish people.
Yeah.
If you're thinking of everything that you'll get from marriage, you're not
Wrong,
ready.
wrong process.
You're not ready.
You're going to be very disappointed if that's how all of your thoughts go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we say there has to be work done ahead of time on yourself. Uh, you know, I didn't know this before we got married, but singlehood is the best time that you have to work on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't aware that there were a lot of things that I needed to work on about myself. You know why? Because I didn't know myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big area that people miss for a very long time. Maybe, as we get um, older, get more toward our 30s and stuff, we come to the realization, I need to work on myself. But when you're a young adult, you're just excited for freedom to make your own decisions and stuff like that. And then you make huge decisions. not even knowing that really, I mean, if you think about it, when we come out of our parents' homes, we don't know ourselves yet.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know ourselves yet. We don't know how the world will affect us now that we're out there making our own decisions. We don't know how our decisions will affect our lives, and how we will respond to consequences of our decisions. We don't know ourselves. And so really, I think people would do well to get counseling as soon as they get out the house, out of their parents' house,
Mm-hmm.
to start that journey of figuring out, who am I?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that you can be a more sound, whole person before you come and connect yourself to someone else.
Hey, mom. Mom started singing the song.
Where's she at?
She started. Her first comment was she had to start singing the song on this marriage talk. My good days outweigh my bad days, and I won't complain. Amen. Amen. Now, let me. One thought I had when you were talking about, maybe in our mid 30s we're at a different place. It's not a. I don't think it's an age factor. I think that we can be in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and still potentially not know ourselves. Because you don't get to know yourself until you do the actual work necessary of getting to know yourself.
Well, and what I meant by
Mm-hmm.
what I said is that we don't realize until we've done a little bit of life
Yeah.
that we got some issues, that we don't have a handle on things, and that we there are probably plenty of areas that we need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a long time to get there in our own minds.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and I'm not this. I agree with everything you said.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the older we get, the less likely we are to do the work
Well, there's that too.
because we grow complacent and comfortable in living life the way that we've been living life. And so then to bring someone else into the equation when we've reached a point of saying, this who I am, this how I'm going to do, and I'm probably not going to change. I don't know how to make. I don't know how to make that work. I'm not saying there isn't a way. I'm saying I don't know how. I don't know nothing about that life. Because we were young.
Yeah.
We were young and came into it, and that was hard. That first year of marriage,
I'm like, oh Lord, what have I
what did
done?
I do? What did I do? We both were thinking it.
We were completely. I mean, that's, once you've made the decision
You in it
to
now?
do that, it's like, okay, I did not consider any of this. And I couldn't consider certain things that came up because I had never dealt with any of that
And we
before.
and we dated a long time.
Yeah. But marriage was a whole different
It's
thing.
different. People don't believe that either. We tell people all the time. They're like, "Well, we dated all these years," and people are like, "We lived together. We did this. We did that. I know everything there is to know." Mm-mm. You don't know who she is as a wife. It's different. You don't know who he is as a husband. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. Um, yeah. So yeah, mom has entered the space, and I would have to yield the floor to the wisdom of somebody who's been married longer than I've been alive. I don't remember. I don't even know how many years. See, y'all got married in '62. What's the math?
Mm.
60,
Aren't they at 50
62
something?
years.
Oh.
62 years. Is that right? You can tell me, ma, if you still
What
there.
year did they get married?
1962. 60 in July. It will be. Lord,
They've been married 60 years.
60 years.
It'll be
Right now, it'll be
61.
61 in July. Wow. So that's why she can just jump in and write a song in the comments. In 61 years, my good days outweigh my bad days, and so I won't complain.
Mm-hmm.
Drop the mic. But you have to endure every one of those bad days in order to appreciate every one of those good days.
Yeah. And if I could tell my single self, if I could go back in time, and not that I regret anything, but if I could give myself some pointers from this side, I would say get to know yourself. You know, figure out what's right with you, figure out what's wrong with you, and then work with yourself so that you can be the best you can be before you go and hook up with somebody.
Hmm. If I, knowing what I know now, could have a conversation with my single self regarding marriage, what would I? I'm trying to ask myself like Camille
Well,
just
let's
asked herself.
do it. And I'm not even talking about like, so maybe do both. Because I'm saying even a relationship,
Mm, yeah,
like that, starting from that part of it.
yeah.
But then maybe, I don't know, maybe you tell yourself something else for marriage.
No, I like yours. I was trying to replicate yours.
Mm-hmm.
So before I even consider a relationship, or when I'm in a relationship, I probably would tell myself, don't waste your time on people who are only focused on themselves, um, only, and don't expect them to complete you. Man, and that's a tough one. Like at least me, I always went into relationships like I wanted to see the complementary partnership, how that would work. I didn't have that language at that point in time in my life, but how do they make me better? All of that. But don't take it so far to the point where you're saying, not just compliment me, I need you to fix me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have to do that. I have to fix myself with the help of the Lord. Not the other, it's not their responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell myself something about them and something about me. If they're too selfish and all they thinking about is what they get out of it, peace signs. But then on the other side of that, if I'm expecting that they're going to do something for me that I'm supposed to do for myself, then I need to correct that vision in myself. So those are a couple things. Couple things. I got a whole book. I got a whole book that I got to finish writing about the 5 attackers of marriage, and I still think it's relevant and needed for people. So maybe Camille will co-author it with me. I've done a lot of the work.
Maybe
So
so.
maybe I'm not the one that we're waiting on.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't? We've worked through it. That's what we used as a baseline when we were helping couples and
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah, we've worked through it. It's just he doesn't even know what it is that I speak of. 60 years, mom. That's good. That's hard. I know if we gave you the mic right now, you would tell us some stories of the good and the bad and the ugly. Uh, but you've endured hardness as a good soldier, and so y'all growing old together. You done grown old together. Uh-oh, did I just get in trouble? I might.
I don't know.
I might.
That was a good question, Lysandra.
Yeah, look at all that. You made us bypass the whole framework that we were going to talk about today. We'll talk
Might
about
have to
that
do it
another
next
week.
week.
We'll talk about that another week. So, yeah, all minds clear?
Mm-hmm.
All minds clear?
Give them a minute if anybody um, adds something.
I saw a few of you all join in. I saw Nadine, cousin, you put a like on it. If you're still there, hi. We love and miss y'all. Give Chris a hug for us. Enjoy your grandchildren. I'm assuming y'all minds are clear. We'll give about one more minute. And then we'll begin to make arrangements for this game. Who playing?
Chiefs and somebody Eagles.
Yep, Philadelphia Eagles. Good job. Good job. Now we're
Mm.
prepared for the game because we
No,
know.
the food's not ready.
Yeah, I still.
That's prepared.
I have to cook it still and get it, the part that we're ordering. I didn't know what I was signing up for, but I love it. I love you, dear.
I love you too.
What's this part?
I
What's
don't know what's so bad about this whole Super Bowl thing. You get to watch the game. You gonna eat.
privilege? What a privilege. That's great. That's great. Praise Jesus. Oh, I thought that was a new comment.
I think
Loved and needed this. Good.
cool.
Good. Thank you for driving the conversation today. Now we ain't gonna let you drive all the time, but you drove today, and so don't say we never had a conversation tailored to your needs of the day. It's good to be on the live. It's good to be.
Yeah.
It's good to be on the live. So thank you all. Join us on the live again next week. Hey, I don't say this much. I don't. There's several things. I was gonna say one thing, and then about three things came to my mind. The lives are always available on this Weekly Wisdom with Rajel Facebook page as a rebroadcast. They're also available over on YouTube. That's what I was gonna say. But then I also want to say something else. I don't say much. Um, we appreciate and like to give opportunity. I don't talk about it much, but for you to sow into this as a ministry. Um, Personally, when I am benefiting from and blessed by service, organization,
A word.
word,
Mm-hmm.
a specific minister of the gospel, author that I hear on the podcast, different things like that. I just ordered another book this week that I heard a good podcast, and I was like, you know what, that just fed and nourished me. I'm gonna buy their book as a way to support. Um, I'm a believer in the principles of investing in what has invested in you. And so, if Weekly Wisdom, the Threshing Floor, all of this is all together, if it is investing in your life, then I encourage you to sow a seed into what is to invest back in what is investing
Mm-hmm.
in you, because that it's so important. Think about it. If you don't invest in what invests in you, then that investment may stop coming to you because it requires investment to keep things going in all sorts of different ways. And so it's just a God principle. Bless those who bless you. Be reciprocal in your nature. And so you can do that in several ways. There's a comment that you can see right on this stream where you can give through our Easy Tithe app. And the link is already in the comments. Also, and I don't know how this works all the way, but there is something called stars that Weekly Wisdom has gained access to, where you can donate by giving 200 stars or 100 stars, and that I don't know a ton about this, but that gives an opportunity where you can right within the Facebook system give a certain number of stars, and I don't know how it works. Y'all figure out how it works. I can try to find some information to better know how it works, but that should be right in the feed as well. Um,
And then for financial giving, um, we have pinned on here the link for where you can go to give
yep.
to the ministry.
The URL is right in there, app.easytide.com/app
Mm-hmm.
slash giving slash threshing. And so it's in there. And we thank you all. Many of you are consistent, faithful supporters
Thank you.
of this ministry, of the vision of what we're doing. And I know what we're doing is non-traditional, but you all are innovative enough to value non-traditional resources. And so thank you for that support. Keep it going. You can do recurring giving. You can do a one-time donation. All sorts of things. You can have fun. Do it however you want. Or you can text to give. There's all sorts
Mm-hmm.
of things that can happen. And so thank you so much for all that you're doing. We hope that this continues to be a blessing for you. And we pray that you are blessed for your consistency. with us. So thank you so much. Now my mind is completely clear. And so you all have a phenomenal week. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.
See ya.